Hello, everyone. It's Art Russell here at Think Twice on YouTube and thinktwice.me at wordpress.com. This video is going to be quite different from my usual format, but I hope that you'll find the content useful or helpful. Have you ever watched a video in which someone, perhaps a spouse or a parent, made a video and wanted to leave a message for someone to view at a later date? A very important message. Well, that's the reason for the making of this video. Now, I found that happening in my life in 2019 when my book started coming through me. Please trust me, I had no plans, no conscious plans of that happening. It just started literally one day. And when it reached 10,000 words, I thought, gee, I guess I better back this up on a data stick. And that's literally the way it happened. That's the way this video was happening today. When I saw this guy get out of bed this morning, I had no idea that this was going to happen. The message that I would like to relate of being most important in my life relates to the human journey and our true nature. To take an apparent human journey, the following is involved, is necessary. There is the veiling of our true nature, misidentification with a false self, and then ultimately or eventually the recognizing, knowing again, our true nature. At its most profound level, it makes the difference between whether we are, as the Bible states, having my will be done, the personal self, or thy will. Thy will would be God's will. Now, I'm not this religious guy who's trying to convert anybody. What I'm finding is these messages are coming through me, and I hope they're going to be useful to you. So let's move on here. So in my journey to recognition of true self, and that's why I've called this Testimony of One. One being consciousness speaking to you, sharing with you through the conduit by the name of Art Russell. My journey involved the reading of many books. Some were law of attraction books, many were spiritual. I found that this character would kind of alternate between the two. I would go to the law of attraction books when I thought, oh, this is going to help me be more successful as Art Russell in the apparent world. And when that wasn't always working out, it did on a lot of occasions, and the law of attraction is a true teaching. Then I would go to the spiritual books. I would just naturally be drawn to them. I was also drawn to videos, such as presentations by Rupert Spira, who I highly, highly recommend. Muji, Eckhart Tolle was probably the first that I saw on YouTube, and it held great value. I was also led to various books, as I mentioned. So one of the first ones is a law of attraction book called The Master Key System. And I had to read that book many, many times to kind of get the messages, the deep message held within it. One of the messages found early in the book, but it pervades it, is our identity. And within the first few pages, the book is relating, Charles F. Hennell was relating, the true I of us can't be the body, and the true I can't be the mind. Now, when I was deeply rooted in the belief that I was Art Russell, I know that sounds odd, but please bear with me. There's more information that will help. I thought, what do you mean, the true I of us? I really had no idea. I thought that was quite bizarre. And then then there was a passage that I picked up later in the book that said, it is the few that realize what the effects of the world are made and how they come into being. Another book that was very powerful for me is entitled The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And in that book, he describes his awakening to the truth of his being. When I first found that book, long before it became popular, I had no idea what waking up to your true being was. Another book that I found very, very helpful is a book entitled I Am That by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. Now, we don't have to get all afraid of a big long name like that. From what I've understood, Nisargadatta, just Sri would be an honorific title, and Nisargadatta would refer to one having knowledge beyond the apparent, beyond phenomena. And Maharaj would again be an honorific kind of word attached to that. Another book, I'm going to go back here. A quote from I Am That may help you. It's a short quote, but it may help point you towards your own recognition of your true self. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj stated, "To be a person is to be asleep." Now here's the deeper point of that. You can't actually be the person, but you can certainly mistakenly, erroneously believe that you are the person. This, in front of you here, did it for about 55 years before the dots started to get connected. Another important book was called Who Am I? Is called Who Am I? It's still out there, thin book. One of the points in that book is when a seeker asks Maharaj, is there any difference between dream state we're all aware of? We have those fanciful dreams, and they sure appear real while they're going on. It's only when we wake up, we yawn in the morning, and then we realize, oh, those happenings in the dream were just dream happenings. What I'm sharing in this video pretty spontaneously here is that when we awaken up to our deeper truth of our true nature, that's what the waking state, this that people call reality, what it feels like. You awaken, you arise in consciousness, you rise in consciousness, to which you look back at this right now the same way that you look at dream happenings at night. That's real. So another book that was important, I don't know why this came into my possession, but it did. It's entitled Jesus and the Lost Goddess. Now, it's a very heavy book, and I didn't understand a lot of it at the time, but one point I did get. And it was what's referred to as the pneumatic initiation. Pneumo, as you may know, is tied into air, or like you think a pneumatic pump, it's an air pump, a tire pump, or somebody has a pneumothorax that's related to the air and the lungs, but air. So in this terminology, pneumo would refer to consciousness, our true nature. It's like the air. You can't point to where you are. That's why consciousness is non-local. But it's here, or we wouldn't be having these apparent experiences. Mine right now of sharing this video with you. Let's go on. Some more important points or happenings along my journey to recognizing my true self, to know again, were movies. And you may be familiar with some of these. And okay, so Field of Dreams. In Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner's character is compelled to build a baseball field on a farm. And he's following his intuition the whole way, and not knowing where he's going to be led. And it's more like he's being lived rather than doing the living. That's the point. That's what it feels like. That's where thy will is actually taking the steering wheel that you used to thought was in the hands of the guy stating, this is my will being done. Kevin Costner's character was taken over by thy will. There was so much symbolism in that movie, reuniting with his father, reunited in love. Just some points to think about. Another important movie about this related to idealism, how everything is occurring within mind, is the movie entitled Groundhog Day. Now there we saw Bill Murray's character, who was pretty grumpy, egotistical-minded person, deeply rooted in the person. And he's living day after day over again. And he's unhappy. And he's basically living this loveless life. He has a crush on this lady. He's hoping that'll work out. And it finally does, when basically love becomes the foundation of his life, rather than being driven by the what is in this for me attitude that persons usually harbor to some degree or another. Another important movie is entitled The Shack. One of the points that I got out of that movie, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's about a man who has a troubled youth, a troubled childhood in his mind, still going through. He's a married man, and there's a tragedy within the family, and he's questioning the nature of where is God during all of this. And in the latter half of the movie, there's mystical happenings that occur, and at one point he's climbing higher, being guided by this spirit guide, I would say. And the spirit guide says, no, you have to go this last way on your own. To me, what that represents is related to the teachings. I and many other people can relate our information. We can write books, we can do movies, we can have person-to-person dialogue, but everyone has to experience this themselves. Why? Because it can't be put into words. You can put it into words, but the interpretation has to be personal. Or the interpretation can never be personal. You have to experience it yourself. That's what was happening in the last of the movie entitled The Shack. Probably one of the most important movies related to the truth of our being portrayed on screen. It's a movie called The Matrix. And many of you will be familiar with it, I'm sure. In the movie, I'm not sure if you remember, but it opens with a character named Neo, which is actually an anagram for the One. There's one consciousness here, dreaming a multitude of experiences through characters that are made of mind. Everything is made of mind. Paramahansa Yogananda, in a book called The Law of Success, states, mind is the creator of everything, and it is. So in the movie, Neo's character, the movie opens with Neo's character asleep, pretending he's asleep, this head on the desk. And across the screen of his computer is typed, "Wake up, Neo. Wake up." The anagram, that would be wake up one. You've got to wake up to your true nature. Why? Because as Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj stated, To be a person is to be asleep. Now, those are some of the pointings from the movies. I hope that you found some of this information useful today and that you'll get deeply curious about your essential nature beyond name and form. We've been conditioned to believe that we're something, person, that we're not actually. If you've enjoyed this video or found some value within it, I invite you to subscribe to the channel or click a like, or perhaps both. I offer more free information at my blog entitled thinktwice.me, and I also offer more information through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, which is available through Amazon. Bye for now. We'll talk again soon.